those basic techniques are going to help you to come out of it. So it's very important that your bases are clear so that you can approach new techniques, and then you can jump to all the advanced plugins and stuff like that.
Hey everyone, thanks for tuning into Nodes of Design. To help support our mission spread knowledge, and knowledge should not be hidden behind paywalls, we have a very special guest on our today's show. Let's welcome Nikhil Pawar, aka Dope Motion. Nikhil is one of the prominent players in motion graphics and VFX industry, helping a lot of people around the world understand and teach motion graphics with a network of 238k subscribers on YouTube. He also worked with prominent clients like Cooler Master, Adobe, Envato, Wix, and Storyblocks. On today's episode, he shared his insights on motion graphics, on how should one begin in motion graphics, and what is his creative process while designing some great animation and cool graphic designs. So stay tuned and happy designing, everyone. Hey Nikhil, welcome to Nodes of Design.
Hey man, thank you so much for having me.
So Nikhil, for our audience, if you could give a brief about you.
Sure. Hey guys, what's up? My name is Nikhil. I'm a motion and visual designer here from India. I have been doing this for around 8 years now, and it's been pretty fun.
So for the listeners out there, Nikhil is one of the leading motion graphics artists in India with a YouTube channel that have more than 230k subscribers, and he's giving so much knowledge on his YouTube channel. That's the Dope Motion. There are some really dope videos that you could see it out there. So Nikhil and me are gonna talk on motion graphics today.
Yeah, it's gonna be fun.
Let's begin then. So Nikhil, to our young listeners out there, what is motion graphics and why is it so unique and essential?
Motion graphics essentially is like a part of animation. Like animation is a very vast field, and motion graphics is a small part of it. Like there are various different various different fields under that animation tree. Is like clay animations, frame by frame animations, and all this animation comes into this main like animation category, and motion graphics is a small part of it. It's basically like animation of graphic design, but with the animation of these designs you also need to convey a story, a message that should attract your viewers. So it's very interesting to convey a story using shapes, elements, colors, and various different things. So that is why I find it very unique and very interesting to play around with it.
That's great, Nikhil. So now if someone's really passionate about to begin this or to start with, how should he do it?
For like today, it's very easy to get started with anything related to design, because there are so many platforms out there like YouTube, Skillshare. On YouTube, I think YouTube is more than enough if you want to get started with something. And then if you decide to get more serious about it, and if you want to learn like in-depth techniques, then you can take on online courses. There are so many websites that offer free online courses and paid as well. So, and considering like today's situation where we all are stuck at our houses, so it's a great time to get started learning some amazing courses online. So yeah, if you want to learn for free, or if you want to get started for free, then YouTube is like more than enough. And if you want to learn any specific any specific skill like portrait design or logo design, and you want to learn that particular skill in complete depth, then I would suggest like you can take out free courses online.
Thank you, Nikhil. So I see a lot of your videos on YouTube have so many cool animations, so many cool movement and graphics and all flowing around. So what is your creative process in making all those?
My creative process is actually very simple, but I think like each one of us has a different creative process to begin with. But mine is very simple. Like if I want to, like if I'm preparing for a tutorial, then I would like to go over and do a lot of research, and I spend like 50% of my complete project time in just doing a lot of research, so I can go through all the designs that I can find on internet, and then I can create my mood board. Like I select all the design that I like, that inspires me, and to create a separate mood board, and then I can go through that mood board and then start building up the creative project, whatever that I'm going for. If I'm creating a title animation, then I like to search a lot of title animation like designs and stuff, not just title animation. But for example, if I'm creating a logo design, then I don't really search for logo design inspiration, I like to go through all the inspiration, all the designs that is possible. And this is very important that, if you are creating a design for any particular topic like logo design, but your research should conclude everything like colors and various different things. So it's very important that we take references not from logos but also from different photos, and colors and stuff like that, that inspire us to create a very cool design. And that is how I start, and that is how step by step I proceed, creating the sketches and then going through the animations and finally adding some cool sound effects.
Thank you so much, Nikhil, for explaining your creative process. So, is the same for the beginners as well? Like who want to practice, can they approach the same way?
Yeah, definitely. But for beginners, like right now, a lot of people want to jump straight away to advanced techniques and they want to learn all the cool plugins and stuff like that. But I recommend for beginners to actually start from the base. I know it's a bit boring to, start from the base, but it's very important because when you get stuck in some kind of issue later on in the project, those basic techniques are going to help you to come out of it. So it's very important that your bases are clear so that you can approach new techniques and then you can jump to all the advanced plugins and stuff like that.
So, what software you recommend apart from After Effects in motion graphic if someone wanna really explore?
Actually, there was a time when I used to use a lot of software because I thought like when I used to see people creating some amazing stuff in Illustrator, I started learning Illustrator. Then I saw people creating cool stuff in Photoshop. Then I started learning Photoshop. But at the end, you don't need to learn so many different software if you are, if you want to create something. But there are some essential software that you need to learn like Photoshop. And if you want to get started with 3D, you can learn Cinema 4D or 3ds Max. But Cinema 4D is a bit more user friendly, I think. So for me, I think Photoshop, After Effects, Cinema 4D, these are my three base software. And the secondary software that I like to use is like Illustrator. And yeah, I guess those are the four softwares. And yeah, for sound editing, I also use Adobe Audition. And for video editing, I use Premiere Pro. So these are all the 5 software, that concludes all my complete work. But there are a lot of softwares that I used to learn before, like Corel Draw and stuff like that. But I don't really think you need to learn all of them. Just the basic 5-6 softwares that, just to get your work done is more than enough, I think.
Thank you, Nikhil. So, on a concluding note, what are the 3 favorite reads that you want to suggest to our young listeners?
So I don't really read those so many books, but I do listen to a lot of podcasts, which you can just play it on the side while you're working. So I definitely recommend a lot of podcasts by School of Motion. I've heard a lot of podcasts from Bliss Creatives as well. Then from
The
the
Bliss.
Future, one of my favorite. So yeah, these 3 are the main podcasts that I mostly listen to. So yeah.
Thank you so much, Nikhil. Anything else that you want to share?
Yeah, one thing that I would like to share is that a lot of people ask me that is it necessary to have a degree or a certificate or a diploma if you're getting into this field? And a short answer for that is no, you don't need any certificate, because whenever you're going to approach a client, no one is going to ask for your certificate. They are going to ask for your work. So your work is what is going to talk for you, I think. Now, there are some industries, or not industries, not actually some companies that actually ask for your certificate, I think, when you're approaching for a job, and that is completely fine. But even that, they are only going to consider, I think, 1% of that. The 99%, they are going to consider your work, your ability, your creativity. So that is very important. I think the certificate doesn't really matter. You don't need to actually go to even any design school. You can learn everything from YouTube and online these days. And yeah, so that is one thing that I wanted to share, because I got a lot of question asking me, especially people from India, because here the field is very people don't know much about it. So yeah.
And moreover, in our country, design is something that's really just started taking up the boom when compared to the other parts of world. And there are quite few people who are actually really inspiring. One of them is really you, like the motion graphics part. Thank you so much, Nikhil, for joining us and helping us spread knowledge on motion graphics.
Thank you so much for having me.